and gentlemen, welcome to the Sly Fox Sports podcast. We have returned, and we are here to talk about the NFL week, essentially.
Wait, what?
Week.
I thought this was the presidential thing, you know?
No, that's
Biden goes in today,
that's
right?
another station.
I saw Trump fly out.
Station over.
Yeah, this is your opportunity to change to the channel right now.
We have our co-host back, Mr. Nix.
Barely.
Apparently, he is stacked on top of me now because Zoom has decided to put us on top of each other. I don't
It's a
know.
haunting prospect.
So, hello, darkness, my old friend, indeed. Let's talk about the newest news. Philip Rivers.
By the way, Jeremy, for some reason, I'm stacked on top of you and I seem to have squashed you down on your screen because you're literally like, here, sit up, you fucking cretin. You Americans, honestly, slouch.
I am sitting up. That's the thing. Here.
Right, shorty.
Oh,
Out of it. How's the weather down there, buddy? About fucking time. There you go.
my arms are now your. Oh, wait. Yes, my arms are now your arms. Okay, sorry. That got derailed real quick.
NFL news.
Because
Because apparently we can't fucking get the timing right to do a sensible review because Jeremy here can't dedicate more than an hour a week to recording. So even though he's the one who wants to be a broadcaster. So we're going to talk about the NFL now and basically wrap it all up in a neat little bow right before the championship games commence this weekend.
Indeed. Philip Rivers has decided that he is ending his football career and becoming a coach in a high school team in Alabama.
Oh, shock horror. He's going to be a coach in a high school team. What, so he can adopt a load of kids on top of the ones he's already got? Jesus Christ, man. You've got... I mean, he can't stop working, can he? You got 9 kids. That's a lot. I tell you what, mate, you do not want to get a divorce. I'm just saying. Oh, man, you've got a prenup in there.
No, he gets a divorce. He's all fucked. Or she probably signed a prenup.
He'd have to. 9 kids. My lord.
Yeah.
At least we know who's going to repopulate the earth once Donald Trump hits the red button. He'll find his way back.
So, Philip Rivers has decided to retire. Mr. Nix, are you going to miss Mr. Rivers?
In a way, yes. Just because of, for basically my entire adult life, especially being a Broncos fan, Philip Rivers has been my arch nemesis. And as much as he's a massive penis with 5,000 kids, I kind of, it's like, for instance, I'm a Lincoln City fan, right? We hate Grimsby. They interfere with fish. They rape haddocks. They, sodomize sardines, all that good shit. Bunch of fishy cunts. But I'll tell you what, I do miss having a derby. I don't want, they're in League 2, we're in League 1. And I think, I don't get to see the derby. And I do miss that. It's nice to lord over them, but eventually you want your derby back. You need an enemy. You need a villain. What's Batman without the Joker, innit? You got to have that. Yeah. So, yeah, obviously, to be fair to him, he's had an amazing career, actually. Has he won a Super Bowl? No, he hasn't. And some might argue, when you consider some of the guys who have won a Super Bowl as well, even an Eli Manning, who's won 2 Super Bowls, you think Philip Rivers was technically a far better player than he was. But he was never truly afforded the weapons he needed to be a superstar. He had LaDainian Tomlinson for a little while as a running back, but, who's I always say, name famous fucking Chargers. There ain't none.
Gates.
Yeah, great. I said famous. But Gates is all right. He's famous by San Diego / Los Angeles standards, but he ain't exactly a fucking elite player. Not for my money. Not even close. I kind of feel bad for Rivers in a way because at some points, he had an elite arm. And you look at some of these quarterbacks who have gone on to win Super Bowls, think about the guys who are terrible who have won Super Bowls. I mean, Peyton Manning basically walked in with no working limbs and got a Super Bowl out of the Broncos. It's difficult, but the one thing I have to appreciate is that, Philip Rivers has had a wonderful career. I will miss giving him the business until he winds up eventually. When I'm probably old, he'll be even older and he'll end up probably being, I don't know. I imagine he'll probably work his way up and find himself into an NFL franchise at some point. I honestly thought we were going to get at least another year out of him, actually, at the Colts. I honestly was a little bit surprised that he opted for just the 1 year. Because I feel like he played well enough that he could go again. And obviously, Thomas is doing very well and showing the world that if you look after yourself, you can keep going well beyond what people think. But he's hit that magic kind of ceiling, hasn't he, that pretty much everybody bar Brady hits when they get to 39, 40, and then the body just starts to say, yeah, no, I'm all right, thanks, mate. And you got to remember the last few years of his time, especially in San Diego, he's getting hit a lot. Bad offensive lines. That takes years off of your career. But he's done well. He's done very well. And when you think it was, it was him and Eli Manning, wasn't it? Who kind of went in at the same time. It's quite ironic, really.
It was because it was Eli, because Eli originally got drafted to the Chargers, number 1.
Basically didn't want to play for him.
And Rivers was drafted to the Giants, number 3, and they swapped.
Yeah. And the ironic thing is, Eli walked away with 2 Super Bowl championships because his franchise were willing to put weapons around him when he needed it most. And also he had a couple of very handy miracles, which always helps. And Rivers ended up at a franchise where you could argue he had 2 reasonably elite players in Tomlinson and Antonio Gates and nothing else to show for it. I couldn't name in his last few years at the Chargers a really high elite player around him. He made Melvin Gordon all right, but Melvin Gordon was mostly a running back.
Keenan Allen was a good, solid receiver for him.
Yeah, but I feel like we're seeing the best of Keenan Allen now because obviously Philip Rivers' arm deteriorated. So here's Justin Herbert, who's this young stud with a cannon of an arm, and all of a sudden Keenan Allen can start feasting properly again.
Yeah, indeed. As for another quarterback that is apparently going to be hanging up his jersey and helmet, Drew Brees.
Drew.
Well, it was a Drew, but it's Drew Brees.
Wrong Drew. Stay, Drew Brees.
He has not officially named himself as retiring, but everybody around him and very many reporters near him have said that this was his last game on this past Saturday, or was it Sunday? No, it was Sunday. My bad.
Until he gets traded to the Broncos. Go on, just 1 year. Come on. We got someone out of Peyton. We can get you another Super Bowl, Drew. Come on. Replace Drew for Drew. It works. It's funny. Man. I'll miss Drew Brees a lot more, actually, because Drew Brees is everything that I feel a world-class human being, a sports star, an athlete should be. He is the benchmark for excellence. It's quite funny as well because all the salty-ass haters are on social media saying, yeah, well, he had a shit career and he only won 1 Super Bowl. I was like, that's 1 more than you'll ever win, dickheads.
Yes, but see, that Super Bowl was so important for the city.
But his legacy isn't about being a Super Bowl champion. His legacy is how he put an entire city on its back in the wake of one of the worst disasters in modern history.
Exactly.
And won a Super Bowl off the back of that, but also that team, that franchise, which he represented, he was at the helm of, that entire city basically rode the Saints for many years to try and avoid and try and ignore the depression and the misery that was around him. Because let's be honest, the majority of the United States has forgotten and left Louisiana behind in the wake of what happened at Hurricane Katrina, especially George Bush. Nice job, you feckless idiot. And ultimately, his legacy will be one of how it should be done from top to bottom. And there's no question his arm was starting to deteriorate. He knew that as well. And I think it's quite a fitting legacy. The last thing I've seen of him is that beautiful image of him playing with Tom Brady and his kids on the field. They had a nice little chat together. Tom Brady, by the way, showing how much of a classy human being he is. We talk so much about how much of an arsehole he is and all this. Well, we don't, but other idiots do. Buying into that media nonsense. Oh, he's so evil. Evil Tom, he's ruining my life. And it's like, no, he's the first man out there. He shows respect. Tom Brady cares about this game. And for Tom Brady, it must be quite strange thinking that he's the oldest quarterback in the league. And yet all the other guys are leaving before him. He would have thought that, he would have been gone well before Drew Brees probably. But Brady's one of those guys who not only can he not let football go, he doesn't need to at the moment because he's in an NFC Championship game, which is absolute living proof that he can still go. End of story. He's 43 and he'll be in the NFC Championship this weekend. Drew Brees has been a magnificent
Rodgers.
That image of Drew Brees playing with his kids, Tom Brady throwing a pass to his son, that's immortal. That's the kind of stuff that lives on forever. Every time somebody tells me that Tom Brady is a piece of shit for whatever reason, or they hate Brady because cheating Patriots, blah, 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 just go and watch that footage. That's a real human being right there.
Indeed. I like how
retirement,
Aaron Andrews, after the championship game, brought up that this was probably Drew Brees' last game, and she wanted his comments on Drew, and he said, I'm not going to try and step on anybody's toes. I don't want to put out false information, but what I will say is that he was one of the greatest humanitarians in this league. And I consider him a very good friend. And if this is his last game, I will miss him dearly. So
yeah, you never say never in the NFL. We remember Brett Favre, but you can say that. But the first year was good. He should have called it a day after he came back off that one season.
After he left once he went to the Vikings.
When ironically enough, he got murdered by the Saints in the NFC Championship game. And that ultimately led, of course, to the Saints winning the, great Super Bowl. But it's amazing. It's an incredible career. I'm very blessed that I've seen Drew Brees play. Got to see him play a couple of times. Had an absolute stormer of a game against Philip. Ironically enough, actually, the second ever game I ever got to see at Wembley, which is when they started doing regular season games all the way back in 2007. In 2008, the second game I'd seen, because they were only doing one a year, was the Saints versus the Chargers, and it was Rivers versus Brees, and it was still regarded to this day as one of the best games we've ever had over here. A real barn burner, like just a slinging contest.
Yeah,
and for a lot of people,
those two were definitely gunslingers.
Huh?
Those two were definitely gunslingers.
Yeah, no question. So, yeah, it's kind of sad actually to think that I won't get to see Drew Brees play again. But he's I'll tell you what, he's going to be fantastic on TV. That's what I'm hearing. He has signed a kind of pre-contract, so he'll be working for TV afterwards. And come on, what I heard, Drew Brees has got to say.
From what I've heard, he's going to be working with either ESPN or Fox.
Yeah.
Something tells me he's probably going to fit in at Fox and like the college show to replace who we're going to talk about next.
Is Tebow coming back?
Good segue that was, yeah. Head coaching positions have been filled. A few of them. One in particular is the Jacksonville Jaguars have officially hired Urban Meyer as their head coach. I'm guessing.
Congratulations, Urban Myers. That's a lot of money you're picking up to manage a dumpster fire.
I'm going
most trash men only get $10 an hour. I'm impressed.
I'm guessing you do not approve or you do not care.
Oh, I like him. You cannot argue with what he's done. The problem is we've seen this before with college guys, with all the credibility in the world, but this is a different animal, and you're not teaching, you're not looking after or coaching kids anymore. You're coaching grown-ass men, big-ass motherfuckers who will swear up to you and slap your ass if they don't like what you have to say. And it's much easier, as we've seen with the Detroit Lions, how it's so much easier to lose your locker room and than it is in college, because in college those kids fear you, and also those college kids ain't paid jack shit. So ultimately, when you're in college, you're going to kind of pay attention because that might be the only way you're going to win any bread. For a lot of these young guys, they come in from impoverished families, they're scouted because of their athletic talent, and ultimately they have to do as they're told because that might be their only opportunity to feed their families, to put a roof over their mother's heads for whatever reason. In the NFL, different story. Money's already there. Players are on big money too. Players have a say. There's more unions involved, things like that. Coaches have a lot of different things. This is why I've always felt that Bill Belichick is the best, because he was able to negotiate all of that and still create an incredible dynasty at the Patriots.
Yes. There's only one college coach right now in the past 5 years or so that I feel has worked and that's Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona. And the only reason that worked is because he immediately, as he got hired, when he had that first draft pick or something like that, he immediately said, I want Kyler Murray. If you do not get me Kyler Murray, this will not work. I will not work. This system will fall.
Sounds like a bit of a child. Give me Kyler or I'm not fucking running this show.
Pretty much. It pretty much was.
He's doing okay, but ultimately, that's all going to be for nothing. If Arizona should have made the playoffs this year, didn't. They had a good season. Kyler Murray is a world-class star. I'll tell you what, he's got all the tools there, and we don't want another Carson Palmer situation where you keep going 10-6 or 12-4 and barely scraping this playoffs and not getting anywhere in there. You've got to actually fucking achieve. The reality is, don't get me wrong, a neutral from my perspective, I think, he's doing a great job at Arizona. But, like, for instance, Urban Meyer, you ain't got nearly the same amount of tools at your disposal.
No.
And also, you haven't got a loyal fan base like Arizona. You haven't got a loyal area like Arizona either. You got Jacksonville, which, frankly, is a load of shit. They're trying to turf that franchise out over to here because they think, the London Jaguars, man, because they think that'll make a lot of money. But ultimately, after a few years, that would fall on its ass too. This is a flux. This is a real apex fucking franchise right now. And they need to fucking get something right. Because frankly, they were shit. The Jets ended up being better than them.
Exactly.
That's bad.
Good segue.
Where's Luton Town? Where's he going?
Huh?
Luton Town, mate.
No idea. That's on Urban.
Come on, Luton. Come over. I reckon we get Luton for a sneal. Give him a Milky Way bar and a fucking packet of Walkers and he'll be here, or a packet of Lays, as you Americans like to say. Bring him over here. Give him a lunchbox and he'll be a fucking Denver Bronco. Doddle.
Speaking of the Jets, they have signed 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh as
what
their
was wrong with the last one?
He sucked. And he was removed from power.
He was removed. He has disappeared and will no longer be seen in public. They often.
He will probably become the new head.
Mate, they're one step away from having Vince Rousseau as their offensive coordinator. I can't wait.
I can't remember where he. Oh, they were saying that he might become the new head coach of the University of Tennessee, Adam Gase. But that's for a college review long down the road. Question.
Salah's a good pickup.
Huh?
Great pickup. Salah. Great pickup. Yeah,
Salah's great.
He's fucking fantastic at his job. Question is, how good are you going to be at your job when all you've got at your disposal is a bunch of digestive biscuits?
Right. And that's the question.
This could be quite difficult. It's all very well and good being a professor at the ultimate prestigious university, but when you need to go down to the special needs camp to try and teach the kids not to eat their own toes, this is going to be difficult. So, tough break, kids. I hope you do well, though. I'll tell you what, if he can get things working at the Jets, that guy.
If they can get into a winning season, not even the playoffs, if they can just get a winning season in his first year.
Oh, if they can go 8-8, I'll consider that impressive.
Exactly.
All he got is Frank Gore. Ride him, Gore. Fucking get a saddle back on Frank. Come on, Frank. You got a new head coach. No longer do you need to leave it, Frank. It's time for you to unleash 1,000 rushing yards. Just one more time. It's going to be Frank's go-home season next season, I reckon.
Yeah.
Frank.
And Justin, the Lions have hired who we thought they were, associate head coach from the Saints, Dan Campbell, on a 6-year deal. It does not say how much he's making, but he has over 20 years of experience as both a coach and a player in the NFL. And the Lions are excited to bring him in. Being that Dan Campbell did work well with Drew Brees and with the Saints all together, do you think he'll do well in Detroit?
Depends who's on the center.
There's talks that Stafford.
First order of business: get rid of every single defensive player you have, because they're literally worth a bag of crisps and a fucking pissing pot. It's a joke. Get rid of that defense. It's fucking garbage. I don't care how many fucking young kids you have to draft in. I don't care if you have to pay a load of hungry fucking homeless geezers living on the outside fucking outskirts of Michigan. Replace that defense. It is trash. I think you need Stafford on the center. But I don't think he's going to stick around much longer, ultimately, if at all.
Yeah.
Still desperate for him to become a Bronco. For me, I want the Lions to do well. I like the franchise. I like the people. I think the city of Detroit especially has had it so tough. People don't realize, especially if you're English watching this, you won't realize that Michigan is pretty post-apocalyptic in a lot of places. It was kind of left to its own devices after, because what's Michigan famous for? Cars. The automotive industry. Once that started moving out, once China and other places started taking that over, once they started moving the factories away, the Great Repressions and things like that, Michigan had nothing, and it's still struggling desperately to rebuild. This is a very famous state. Detroit is a very famous city for music and for motors, and it's kind of been left behind. Very similar in a lot of ways to New Orleans and Louisiana.
Detroit is. All of Detroit's sports teams are going belly up.
Look at the Red Wings. Like, they were the franchise of the NHL for the best part of 20 years. And I'm a Red Wings fan because they were the franchise.
Yeah, last year they had the third pick or something like that. Yeah,
and they're trash now.
Yeah, but they're rebuilding and they're getting better.
Yeah,
they got to win, but that's for the NHL talk. Talking about the Lions, they did hire a new GM in Brad Holmes. He has told ESPN that he is going to evaluate both Stafford and the rest of the roster, along with Dan Campbell, to make decisions, declaring, who's going to stay and who's going to go. There are some that are solid that are staying, and that is mostly defensive players. Jeff Okuda, who was last year's number 3 overall pick. Amani Oruwariye, safety Tracy Walker, defensive end Trey Flowers, and linebacker. Huh?
What about Swift? On offense.
Swift is staying. He just got drafted last year, too. He's on contract still.
Yeah. Marvin Jones Jr., you got to hold on to that. That's a good piece. That's your only real legitimate wideout threat. I would keep Adrian Peterson just as a member of the locker room. If I'm the new head coach coming in, well, you don't have to pay him jack shit.
Right. You don't have to pay him jack shit.
I'd be going up to him and saying, look, we're not going to pay you a lot, but I'll tell you what, we might transition you into the coaching staff at this point because, come on, who doesn't need it? Who wouldn't? He'd be great working with new running backs.
Yeah, I can see him
level head on someone like Swift. Peterson's already gone through his thing. I would be like, look, you're not going to – I want you around here because you are going to be good for the culture of this locker room. You are one of the all-time great running backs. We need you around to help transition a lot of these young guys, and maybe we can look into putting you into the coaching staff eventually because this guy is a tank, and also he's living proof. He still picked up a fair amount of touchdowns last season for a guy who could barely move. He's still a good third down back as well. He's not going to get you massive yardage. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not a Kareem Hunt. He's not a Nick Chubb or anything like that. But I'll tell you what he can do on fucking, first and goal or third and goal when you only need 1 yard, boom, he'll punch it. He'll still punch it in for you. And ultimately, if you're only giving him, $1 million a year in guaranteed salary, that's peanuts if he's going to get you 6 to 10 touchdowns in important games.
Right. Indeed. On injury front, biggest name that is on an injury is Patrick Mahomes. He's in concussion protocol after...
Yeah, and rightfully so, and I don't think he'll play either. But just remember, Jay, anything is possible.
God, I knew you were going to do that.
Riding Bills! The Bills are... Oh, look out!
The Bills are salivating right now.
Bills! They're ready for this shit, man.
Yeah, the Bills are definitely salivating right
Buffalo. Now. Pat Mahomes doesn't play. This is your opportunity. This is your chance. You're in your first ever AFC championship since 1993. This will be your opportunity to get back to the Super Bowl. Take it. You got to punch them, hit them fucking hard.
Even if Patty does play.
Told you Lamar Jackson wasn't elite, by the way.
Oh, yeah, fuck him. Even if Pat doesn't play, even if Pat does play on Sunday, he's not going to be 100%.
Oh, if he plays, that means, I'm sorry, there is no way if he's had a full-fledged concussion that he should be good to play. And ultimately, I hate to say it, but if I'm a Bills defensive player, I don't mind. I'm going to say to somebody off the outs to take his fucking head off. You fucking hit. I don't care if you do it after he's released the ball. You hit him one time and put him down, and he'll be done. And then it's ride him, Henny. I tell you what, don't sleep on Chad Henne. I know everyone's like, he's 37, he's a joke, and he's back up. And there's even that fantastic YouTube video of him like, Chad Henne is a joke, a motherfucking joke. You need to watch that. I'll send you the link. It's quite famous, actually. I think it was done by one of the opposition alma maters, because I believe he was a Michigan Wolverine.
Yes, he was.
See, I'm learning. But ultimately, it's definitely worth a watch. But I tell you what, I saw enough, and he's got so many weapons around him, and they will help lift up the team. And you've got to believe, even if Pat doesn't play, he's going to be on the pitch side, and he's going to be barking at people, and he's going to be helping Henny. He's going to be telling him all sorts of. I'll tell you what, for a 37-year-old, he didn't half dash in for that first down when they were on fourth down, didn't he? When
I
give
Chad Henne credit on that one, man. He fucking
bold. That's bold to put your fucking backup, who's basically not played a meaningful snap in God knows how many years, to be able to fucking go in there and do that. That shows the culture of the Chiefs.
Indeed.
Never, ever sleep on Andy Reid. But this is probably your two most pure football teams going at it. You couldn't actually ask, really, when you look back at the season, for a better AFC championship. I know early doors you thought the Steelers were going to represent them, and then we thought maybe the Titans might squeeze in there. I thought the Browns were going to make it. Ultimately, Browns didn't have enough. I thought the Browns, actually, to their credit, played very well against the Chiefs.
Oh, absolutely. Browns
we're talking about a franchise that just, 2 or 3 seasons ago were 0-16 for the love of Christ, and now they're fucking one game away from the AFC championship.
It wasn't even one game. It was one missed head-to-head fumble.
Yeah.
Caught.
You know what? They were in it for a long time as well, the Chiefs. They got beaten by the extra quality. And also they got caught out on that fourth down. It almost looked like, Jesus, they weren't expecting that. I think they thought they were going to get the ball back off the punt, and they didn't. And that's fine. I do fancy the Bills anyway.
Mm-hmm.
After what I've seen. The way they nullified Baltimore in that game was hilarious, just for the weather, if nothing else. I've never seen the field goal kickers quite literally looked like they were going to have a seizure by the end of that game. I felt so sorry. Like, please don't. I would have just kept going for it on fourth down. Like, no, absolutely not. There will be no kicking. And I'm surprised the punt didn't go in reverse and get a field goal for the opposition. It was so bad out there. But yeah, no, I like the Bills. I like the look of the Bills. I'm not going to sleep on Chad Henne or the Chiefs, because ultimately this is the Super Bowl defending champions.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I quite like the Bills. And I think even if, like you say, if Pat Mahomes, I'm not condoning it, obviously, but Bounty Gate will pale in comparison to what the Bills will try and do to Pat Mahomes if he plays.
A couple other injuries, talking about Antonio Brown had an MRI on his knee. He is showing no serious injury.
I must admit, I'm very grateful that the only reason Antonio Brown is in the news is because he got injured. I'll tell you what, we laugh and we joke. He's done some awful things by all accounts or whatever, and I think we're still awaiting the court case, which will probably take place. That's how much the NFL talks. They can wait until the end of the season to do that. Football's more important than rape. Fair enough. Fair dues. Thanks. Yeah, give it up for Roger Goodell, the fucking cretin. But ultimately, I will say one thing. He has proven to be quite a useful little tool at Tampa Bay. And he's kept, from what I can tell, he's kept his nose clean. And Bruce Arians is quite a ferocious guy. I really like him. And he's clearly said, look, any shit from you, you're out. Anything. You so much as sneeze on me or look at me the wrong way, you are fucking done, sunshine. I will have your cornhole for breakfast, innit? And Antonio Brown has shut his mouth. And I think him and Brady have got quite the connection going on. I really like the look of it. I really do.
Now the question
is it possible to pause this?
Yeah.
Cool.
So back on the injury front, we were talking about Patrick Mahomes. Other injuries that are going on is Michael Thomas is facing multiple surgeries. Apparently he's having surgeries on his deltoid and a few of his muscles in his knee and his Achilles. Apparently he will be fine to come back for the summer for OTAs. What do you think of Michael Thomas? I know he's been out a lot. There's been rumors that he was very what's the word I'm looking for? without being complete asshole.
Divisive.
Yes. He was a very, very hard player to beat.
Ego.
What?
Egos, isn't it? Wide receivers.
Yeah.
This is why Emmanuel Sanders is so special to me, because it never, ever felt like there was an ego involved there. And when Drew Brees comes out and says that he's one of the best teammates he's ever had, and he's only been there for one season, that speaks volumes about him. Michael Thomas, obviously was so lights out at one point. You thought this is the best wideout in the league.
Right.
And then all of a sudden this season, he's kind of fallen off a cliff a little bit. And ultimately, a lot of that seems to be because he's carrying these injuries around. So I suppose the true test will be how good is he going to look once he gets back to OTAs, once everything is healed up, how explosive he's going to be next season. Not everybody is Adrian Peterson, an alien that can just fucking, morph from adamantium and continue to fucking run for 2,000 yards every season. Or, someone like Derrick Henry, for instance, once he picks up a major injury, because it inevitably will happen in a game like this, how are they going to respond? I'm very curious about the Saints, because obviously Michael Thomas goes away for surgery. That's quite important, isn't it? How well is he going to be perceived and how well is he going to do? Drew Brees is now leaving. Now all of a sudden, some of these breakout players, Alvin Kamara, for instance, and stuff like that, and they're now going to be are they going to be counting their time? Jameis Winston has a fair amount of credibility, I think. Jameis Winston's a great athlete. His problem is he's got such a low IQ. He makes bad decisions. He makes bad throws. He makes great throws, though. He's got all the skills and all the athleticism and all the potential to be a properly good quarterback, if not elite, if he really pushes himself. He's probably, like, for instance, in Tampa Bay in his last season, throwing for touchdowns was never a problem. He can get the ball there. The problem is he can also... I think he threw almost the same amount of interceptions as he did touchdowns, because ultimately he just tried to force everything. It's all or nothing with Golladay. He very much is the shotgun quarterback. But as far as Michael Thomas is concerned, if you're a Saints fan, you're sitting there thinking, well, good. We need him to get all those surgeries done and fixed, because ultimately next season, unless you're going to go for another gunslinger, chances are it's probably going to be Winston with Taysom Hill working the option again. That seems to be, because I think Taysom Hill is so valuable in all facets of what he does as a footballer. I don't think they want to completely tie him up as a quarterback.
I beg to differ from what Sean Payton was saying. He's going to be the future.
I think that's a mistake.
I agree.
I think Jameis Winston, I would pile on I would say, right, okay, this team, Drew Brees is now gone. He might be working backstage at some point, but ultimately he's going to be on ESPN talking about us now. Or Fox, whatever it is, who cares? But ultimately, if you're a Saints fan, okay, it's very emotional. Let's have some time to, retrospect and look back at his incredible career. But now we're looking towards people like Michael Thomas. Right, when you're fit, mate, we need you to be elite. We need you to be that wideout that we're expecting you to be the next kind of Odell Beckham Jr., but without that fucking level of sass. So I don't want to hear about you sparking out a fucking opponent or sparking out a teammate in training. This cannot happen. I know that boys will be boys, and as men, we always get in fights and we settle that shit, but that's got to be left there. It shouldn't be in the media as well. It should not be out there for the media to get a hold of, because all of a sudden you've got a reputation. All of a sudden they can get hold of that and they can use that, even if you are a good person, because just because you got in a fight doesn't mean he's necessarily a bad human being. I've got in many fights. I don't consider myself to be evil. So ultimately, some people would. It is what it is.
Right.
Normal fans especially. Britain first. But ultimately, got to get it in there some way or another.
Had to put it in there somewhere.
Imagine if you just tuned in right then and all you heard was me going, Britain first. You'd be like, Jesus Christ, I've stumbled across some neo-Nazi propaganda. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It's not really news for me that Michael Thomas is getting surgery, unless, of course, he comes back and he isn't the player he used to be, in which case then we have to look back and say, right, all those injuries have obviously deterred his career and damaged his ability to play at the highest level again. But it'll be interesting. Are they going to keep hold of Emmanuel Sanders? I think he was only on a year's option, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's still
a bit of a journeyman. And ultimately, if he had formed this great relationship with Drew Brees, and now Drew Brees is going out the door, Emmanuel Sanders might be like, right, where to next? So
go back
in that case, who's important enough? Who's your number one wideout? It's got to be Thomas.
It's got to be Thomas.
Kamara is a decent wideout. He almost feels like a wideout runner, but you never know. He's such a dual threat, but he's not an out-and-out wideout. He's a utility. He's the master hybrid utility player. And for me, he's the MVP, by the way, of the season. I believe Alvin Kamara is the MVP of the season, because ultimately it is most valuable player. And what that means is who is most valuable to their team. And if you take Alvin Kamara out, I don't think they make the playoffs.
No, Absolutely not.
Good
Good
6
segue,
touchdowns in one game.
right?
What's more valuable than that?
They should have let him get his 7th. He would have broke the record and it'd been fine. But either way, whatever. Good segue on wide receivers. AJ Brown, who had a career season.
Yeah.
He's having surgery on both his knees.
Yeah, that's not good. I don't like hearing that. One knee you can understand. It's just a warning to you guys. Knees are fragile. You know, it doesn't matter how strong you are. If a knee blows out, you are fucked. So that is very much the wheel of the body. You need your knees. It's as simple as that. I hope that it's going to be, obviously, you know, the one thing you can always say is because these are hyper intensive, there's a word there. Basically, because they're like, you know, top level athletes, elitist athletes, you know that they're going to get the best medical opportunities, the best surgery, the best medical care. So ultimately, you would expect the surgery to be a success. But you obviously, it doesn't matter who you are, you don't know how your body's going to react to something like this. AJ Brown, also, of course, as well, he's just had his breakout year. We're not talking about a guy who's had who's got 15 years on him, and that's alarming to think. We've just had you've probably had one, maybe 2 really good years as a player. This has been your breakout year. Last year was kind of like a sort of like, oh, hello, he looks like he could be good. And this year is like, oh, he is good. So, you know, full rehab. Very much like Michael Thomas, though, that's really important because obviously the Titans are looking at someone like AJ Brown and thinking, we need you to be. We can't just ride Derrick Henry for the rest of time. Otherwise, you end up with a Viking scenario where,
especially since their free agency right now, they're talking about getting rid of Corey Davis, who is their second guy.
Yeah, see, the Titans as well, from, you know, being successful enough to get in a person, they're not going to have good draft picks for the next couple of years. And ultimately, they're, you know, what they've got right now is pretty much as good as it's going to get. Bar maybe 1 or 2 sneaky pieces. You might be able to blag a late draft pick. You never know. You can find gold sometimes. I mean, you know, we all remember Thomas Brady, you know, round 6. So there is always an opportunity to find something. I think Russell Wilson was taken in like the 3rd round as well. So, you know, there are guys there. But ultimately, if I'm a Titans fan, I'm thinking, I don't think Tannehill and Henry as a combination has that much longer to go. I don't think Tannehill's going to have an elite arm for the next 10 years. I just don't. So ultimately, you've got to punch your ticket now. They should have beaten the Ravens, didn't. They got outplayed and outfought, which is disappointing. So for me, AJ Brown, he's probably one of the pieces that you're looking at thinking this is a guy who we should be able to get at least 5 to 10 years of elite football out of. So those knees need to be good.
Yes. Okay. Off of the sadness and the injury front and retirements and everything. 2 things that I want to bring up. Have you read about the situation with Deshaun Watson?
I can't read.
Oh, fuck off.
I took an English degree. That's an alarming statement to make.
Yeah, good one.
I do know that Deshaun Watson is essentially saying, I want out, and I do not blame him.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Is becoming a dumpster fire, and ultimately, JJ Watt, for instance, is still picking up an insane amount of money, and he's on the downslide. What do you want? You want to know where I think he should go or where he will go? I would. Do you know what? Tennessee Titans should make a play. They got the money, they got the movement, make a play. Because you've already got your elitist running back. I don't think Tannehill is going to be. I'll tell you who he would be really good staying in that division, the Colts. You've just lost Phillip Rivers. All of a sudden, you're looking at Deshaun Watson and thinking, whoa, hang about. All of a sudden, T.Y. Hilton goes from to, you know. And not only that, you've now got this stud running back in Jonathan Taylor. So if you immediately put a stud behind center or under center, that immediately brings confidence as well. Taylor's going to be looking there going, cool, got myself an elite quarterback next to me again. Another great mind to work off of. And ultimately, for Deshaun Watson, this is probably going to be his last chance to get a big payday at a big franchise. So he's going to be looking for big money here. And it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up at a franchise that isn't necessarily Super Bowl ready because he wants to take the money.
Well, he's already, I was reading up on it. He already has signed he signed his contract about 6 months ago.
How about the Saints?
That's a possibility. In September, Watson signed a 4-year, $156 million extension with a $27 million signing bonus and an average annual payout of $39 million and $73 million guaranteed.
That wasn't a mistake.
No, but
just take the money and go home, mate. Just retire.
The thing is, the deal is friendly to prospective teams because the Texans have to keep the signing bonus on their salary cap. So that's dead money if they get rid of him.
So they can't afford to lose him, really.
Which means Watson's payout and salary cap on a new team would be $10.54 million in 2021, which for a semi-elite quarterback, that's fucking bargain gold.
Isn't it?
Now, the next 2 years is $35 million in 2022, all base salary, and $37 million in 2023, including.
Does that mean if another team picks him up, they'll have to pay that?
That's what they would have to pay.
There's the problem right there, because if you're a franchise and you're looking to pick him up, you've got to know that he's going to be at least good for 3 or 4 years, that you can get the best out of him for 3 years. Because if you bring him in and then he becomes an anus or whatever, for whatever reason, like the one thing that alarms me about this situation now, for all intents and purposes, I hear that Deshaun Watson is a very nice kid, nice guy, and he is semi-elite to a certain extent. But the one thing that I will say is, can you pause it again for me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. So Deshaun Watson, if a team picked him up, would have to pay $45.5 million over the next 2 years and $82.5 million over the next 3 years. For comparison, that's roughly the same amount the Eagles are scheduled to pay Carson Wentz over the same span. And they're talking about they're talking about shipping Wentz to Indy.
They should ship Wentz to the sea. State of your quarterback, Philadelphia.
Right. So
where do you think Deshaun Watson? Do you think he stays? Do you think he goes?
No. I think it's too fractured. They're gonna have to get rid of him.
I feel sorry for Romeo Crennel. That guy came in with a dumpster fire, really, and he's stabilized it, if nothing else. And now his quarterback's like, yeah, fuck you, I'm out of it.
Well, Romeo's no longer the coach. He was just interim. They still find a head coach.
A shame. What, they didn't offer him the head coaching position after what he did? Oh, come on. Fuck it. What do you do? What, you waiting for Frank Lampard?
You're talking about offering the position to Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, but that's the one that Watson wants. But Watson wanted a different GM too, so we don't know what the fuck's going to actually happen. Hell, we don't know. Adam Gase might be the next coach in Houston. But the two landing spots that people are talking about are the Jets and the Dolphins.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
But
the Jets. How much salary? How much money have they got to burn at this point? Like,
the Jets. Hold on, I was just reading that as well. The Jets have. Motherfucker, where is it? Oh, okay, here we go. The Jets have $69,385,570 in projected cap space.
Do you know why they have $69 million in projected cap space, Jeremy? Because the Jets are just as good at eating ass as they are as eating dick.
They could have enough for Watson and some free agent wide receivers to join him. The Dolphins have $24,870,000.
Deshaun Watson and Frank Gore. Give me what I want. My body's ready. Leave it, Frank. Just wait until Deshaun gets there. Unleash the gore.
Right.
He's still more effective as a gore than Rhino is.
Amen. The Dolphins have $24,876,158 in space, but they have no state income tax, which Watson has gotten used to in playing in Texas because they have no state income tax as well. But the other thing that the Dolphins and the Jets have are multiple first-round picks that they could throw to the Texans, as well as they could say, right, we're getting Deshaun Watson. We'll give you either Tua Tagovailoa or Sam Darnold.
Yeah, see, like if you're Miami, you have the potential there of a franchise quarterback. Are you going to give that piece up for Deshaun Watson, who is still fairly young? Like, how old is Deshaun Watson? 28, 29?
I want to say he's either 29 or 30, yeah.
Is he north of 30 yet?
Let me look.
Like, because ultimately, I'm looking at someone like Tua is what, 21, 22? Like, he can't be that old.
No, Tua is barely.
He's a kid. But ultimately, youth speaks for something. So
He's 22 years old.
Yeah, see, 22 years old. That being said, Deshaun Watson's only 25. That's amazing, isn't it? Deshaun Watson feels like he's been around forever.
Right?
That's incredible. So Deshaun Watson, potentially another 10, 15 years of elite quarterback play or semi-elite, so it's so difficult. Where do you think he should go? Because I think the Colts is the best fit for him.
The Colts
but ultimately,
fit for him.
Are the Colts going to blow that kind of money on him?
I don't know if the Colts could, though.
I'm interested to see what the Colts salary cap is, because it's not like they've got a huge amount of heavy hitters there. So surely they must have some cap space floating around, or are they still eating it from Andrew Luck?
They might be eating it from Andrew Luck. Ooh, that's interesting. Sorry. WWE news. So I think as much as I would hate for him to go this route, I would like to see him in Miami and let Tua go to Houston.
Oh, I'll tell you where Tua could go. Denver, baby. Mate, swap one orange for another. This podcast is basically me trying to lure quarterbacks to Denver. Come on, Tua. Come on, Stafford. Come on, Breeze. Come out of retirement. Brady, you still good, bro? Do you know what? Now, after watching
John Elway on the field,
do you imagine how different it was? Because apparently Broncos were in play for Brady and looked at him. Imagine if he tipped up with what? Because look at what Tampa gave Brady. Look at what Denver would have given him. Yeah, you can have an abusive linebacker, a fucking 4'0" Jerry Jeudy. You got Drew Lock as backup who can't wear a fucking mask properly. Make us elite, please, Tom. Please, Tom. Whereas Tampa were like, yo, weaponry, brah. Like Tampa, literally, as soon as you rocked up, they were like, beep. Press that little central locking button, open up that locker full of fucking weapons. Out steps Mike Evans and Ronald Jones. What's up, bitches? And like, I'm home.
And then on top of that, they got rid of OJ Howard and said, hey, Gronk, you want to come out of retirement?
Yeah. What do you mean come out of retirement? He was busy being the 24/7 champion. Full schedule, innit? Right. And still looking good, baby. He's that X factor. Yeah, no, I think the Colts would be the best fit for Deshaun Watson. But if you're looking at legitimate landing spots, like you say, it's probably going to be the Jets or the Dolphins. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up at the Jets because they don't have a franchise quarterback. They don't trust Sam Darnold. They get swapping between him and Joe Flacco, which is a shame because Joe Flacco
the rumor with Darnold is kind of disturbing because they're talking about getting rid of Darnold, but not trading him. They're going to cut him and do like a sign and trade kind of thing, what they do in the NBA. And the landing spot for Sam Darnold is Pittsburgh. Which, honest to God, could you imagine it though? Give Sam Darnold weapons.
Oh, dear.
If you gave Sam Darnold weapons.
Roethlisberger can barely stand, and Mike Tomlin's earmarked Darnold, ain't he? He's like, him. Give me him. He's gone full Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction, hasn't he?
Oh, please no.
Tell your bitch to be cool. Tell Sam Darnold to be cool. Mate, Sam Darnold throwing to fucking Juju Smith-Schuster, or Shyster as we now call him. I love the NFL, don't you? Even when it's about to finish. This is what I love. This is how good the NFL is, that we could talk about it for years on end after a season's gone by and still fucking reminisce and have great times talking about it. All that off-season trading is going to be so much fun. The draft.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty to get you.
Draft day is going to be right before draft is going to be sick.
All we got to do is get Jeremy to put his thumb out of his ass and turn up for work more than once a week.
The other thing I want to talk about is now that
70 pounds. I weigh twice as much as you do. I think that's really amusing.
now that Urban Meyer has been hired as the Jacksonville Jaguars coach, they now have their coach. They are going to promote former Niners GM who has been their player or the Jags player or personnel, Trent Baalke, to their GM. So they had their GM, they have their coach. They have the number 1 draft pick. Is this a lock? Do you think Trevor Lawrence is going to be the number 1 pick for Urban Meyer and the Jags? Or do you think Urban's going to try and do a Cliff Kingsbury and say, I want this guy instead?
If he's smart, he will do the Cliff Kingsbury. If he's stupid, which ultimately, you got to remember, as soon as you walk into Jacksonville as well, as soon as you walk through those doors, the stupid ray hits you in the face. And all of a sudden, like, huh? What? Huh? Like, you just all of a sudden become retarded. You just walk in. It's like you cross state line, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't believe in COVID. I don't believe in vaccinations. Flat Earth. Like, we've seen what happens in wrestling companies when that happens. So yeah, I don't trust this at all. If Urban Meyer's, yeah, sure, go for Trevor Lawrence, mate. If you want a handsome reunion at quarterback, that's fine too. But ultimately, I don't care. I refuse to acknowledge the Jacksonville Jaguars as anything other than stool samples at this point. I don't want you in my fucking country either. Fuck off. Normally, I'm one of these. I'm not one of these anti-immigration people. I'm not like members of a certain British first organization. But me personally, I don't want to see Jacksonville anywhere near my fucking country ever again. Tony Khan, suck my dick. Anyway, just spending daddy's money, innit? So I just, whatever. Any other news?
I think he's going to pull a Cliff Kingsbury, and I don't think he wants Trevor. I don't think Trevor Lawrence.
Why does Trevor Lawrence always look like he spends his entire time sitting in a room full of smoke eating Doritos? Why does he look that way? I've never seen a more hipster looking motherfucker in all my life, and that's come from me.
Right.
Apparently, I look like a hipster.
And Lawrence looks like a backup singer for Hanson.
But someone said, you got glasses on, that makes you a hipster. No, I have glasses on because I have shit eyes. A little bit different, mate. Fucking retard.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah. What? When I take them off, I go suspiciously Chinese, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wait, less of that. Wow. Okay. The casual racism. The racism door has just been opened. It's going to be hard to shut that one.
I think he's going to go.
Right, going to have Kim Jong-un trying to bomb us soon.
Oh, Jesus. I think he's going to go the Kingsbury route.
And when I hear Kingsbury, it just sounds like an off-brand of tea, doesn't it? I'm just going to pop down the supermarket. Do you want to get some Yorkshire tea? I can't afford that. I'll just get the Cliffsbury. I want a Kingsbury, whatever.
I think for some reason, I have a feeling that he's going to try. Now that Justin Fields, the Ohio State quarterback, has officially declared for the draft, I have a sneaking suspicion that he'll say, you know what, Trevor, fuck off. We don't need you. Just because you're projected to be number 1, we don't think you're number 1. I want Justin in Jacksonville. I want Justin Fields to lead this Jaguars team because he's ran my system before. He's learned under my pupil Ryan Day. He knows my system. I want him. And all the fucking NFL pundits, whatever you want to call them, analysts will be like, what?
Well, X-Pac.
And then, obviously, if Justin Fields would go number 1, Trevor Lawrence has already said he won't play for the Jets. And if the Jets make a move for Deshaun Watson, they're not going to have to worry about that. Then you've got the Dolphins at the 3rd pick, able to go out and get Trevor Lawrence or whoever. So, okay, obviously, if they've got Tua still in Miami, they don't need Lawrence, so they'll pass on him. Then you've got the Lions at 4. Does the Detroit Lions try and keep Matthew Stafford for maybe one more year and then let Trevor Lawrence learn from him?
Possibly.
Would that fit? You think?
The problem is where I'm not a huge college football fan. I haven't seen enough of Trevor Lawrence to know whether he's going to be good enough in the NFL or not. I'm sure he'll be fine, but I don't know whether he's going to be elite or not. And I heard all this fucking nonsense about Joe Burrow, blah blah blah. And ultimately, I know the kid got injured, but I didn't think he was lights out like everyone said he was. I think there's gaping holes in his game, but it is still early doors. But what about RG3 when he came in? Great first season, and all of a sudden it was off a cliff. Right. That injury done him. So many people that I see coming in from college. Andrew Luck was very different because he was such a traditional ground-based quarterback. He would stay in the pocket a lot more, and they don't seem to be a very popular form of quarterback anymore, not nearly as much as they were. Seems to be this dual threat nonsense quite a lot. And Lamar Jackson has probably only made that even more glamorous and more exciting to youngsters coming into the game. But yeah, I honestly don't know, to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting situation.
Urban Meyer, I mean, the Jags can't get much worse. So, getting a few wins on the belt, that's all you got to do, really, isn't it? Stabilize it.
You would hope. But, okay, so that's that. Finally, we will talk about Championship Sunday.
This Sunday.
We've got, obviously, 2 games. The NFC Championship and the AFC Championship. The NFC title game, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady versus Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay are 3-point favorites at home. The over-under is 51. Who do you have, Mr. Nix?
Tampa Bay.
Oh, no.
Green Bay are the better team. Green Bay will most likely win, but but I'm going with the other Bay. Bay! Tom, I cannot stay away from Tom Brady. The man crush is so real. And then I see him lob that ball to that fucking kid, to Drew Brees' kid, and he's like, hey, look after your sister, be nice to your sister. I'm like, oh my God, you are the most wholesome motherfucker on earth. You may take me now. I'm all about Brady, mate. The man crush is so real at this point, and I've picked Green Bay to get to the Super Bowl to face the Cleveland Browns. So one of my picks is still in it. But at the beginning of the season, I said that Tampa Bay would represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I have flipped and flopped, so I'm not going to be like, called it, because they're here. But at the same time, such a closet Tampa Bay fan at this point. Do you know why? Because I look at Tampa Bay and I think that's what my team could be like. They could be good like them. They're so good. And they've got nice jerseys and they've got sexy Brady at quarterback. And we've got dumb shit fucking Drew Lock. And I'm like, oh, fuck off. Do you know what looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is when you're a fucking Denver Broncos fan? It's like looking at that supermodel who's going out with your mate and thinking, fuck, I picked the wrong bitch. But that's always the way in it when your team's shit and another team's doing well. I wasn't thinking that 5 years ago when we were Super Bowl champions. So right. I'm going to roll with Tampa Bay. I love Brady so much. Some people might argue. What do you think? Do you think he should retire if he wins? If he gets the Super Bowl? Do you think he should just call it at number 7? Everyone said that when he got number 6. Here he is again. Everyone said that after number 5. Day now, buddy. He can't stay away. I reckon he'll go to his 50.
Yeah, if he wins the Super Bowl next year, he'll be quite fucking up there. I think
I'm going to pick Tampa Bay, but I think Green Bay will win. But I'm going to pick Tampa Bay because I want to lead with my heart for once, and my heart belongs to Tom.
Yeah,
But Rodgers is clearly the most elite player right now in the NFL. And by the way, Aaron Rodgers, I feel like it's now or never. You have got to make it count now. This is your chance to punch it.
Yes,
it's been a while. It's been a while since they've done the Steelers in the Super Bowl. Remember that?
I agree.
Good time, wasn't it? Good day out for you guys. Enjoy that. Yeah, big man. Old digested biscuit Ben.
Yeah, old digested biscuit Ben fucking off again.
I've
got Green Bay.
Yeah, comfortably.
I don't know about comfortably, but I think Rodgers has got to get it done. He's got to get it done.
He's got the weapons now as well.
He's got weapons.
He's got a running game. I think he's got 2 elite wideouts. I think Marquez Scantling is fucking lights out, and I don't think people realize that. And he reminds me, Marquez Scantling falls into that lovely little fucking bracket of wideouts and players that people aren't paying attention to who I think are elite. Marvin Jones Jr., for instance, he's up there as well. Players who are absolutely crucial to the way they play. Adam Thielen, I think he's in there as well.
Emmanuel Sanders.
But ultimately dangerous.
Yes. Huh? Emmanuel Sanders falls into that.
Emmanuel Sanders for me he's the perfect American football player. No trouble, no grief, loyal, honest, and fucking reliable. You can depend on him at any time, Emmanuel Sanders. Exactly. Just saying, mate, you come back to the Broncos and like, man, I'll tell you what, that hurt more than any other player we've lost in the last 10 to 15 years for me. When Sanders left, I was like, that really hurt me because there was a player that you knew would go. And the fact that Drew Lock couldn't find him, that's why I don't respect Drew Lock. And that's why I will never see Drew Lock as an elite quarterback, because you couldn't get the ball to Emmanuel Sanders, mate. Ain't got time for you. If you can't find Emmanuel Sanders, you aren't worth your salt as a quarterback as far as I'm concerned. And the fact that Drew Brees, one of the greatest of all time, just said that he's the best teammate he ever had, speaks fucking volumes. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it should be a good game. I hope so. Yeah. It depends. If Green Bay get out early, they could really cause problems for Tampa Bay. But I was impressed with Tampa Bay's resilience. They stood up well against the Saints, because a lot of people thought the Saints were going to get them, especially after they saw. Do you know what this game is? Every time Tampa Bay does well, this proves something even more. Washington is more legit than people realize. Because they have caused all kinds of mayhem coming into the playoffs. They lost to Tampa Bay, and people are like, oh, Tampa Bay can't be that good. They shipped that many points to Washington. They could have got done by Washington. Washington is shit, blah, blah, blah. No, absolutely not. And now what we're finding out is that Tom Brady is 43. He is one game away from another Super Bowl. Don't tell me this guy isn't the greatest American footballer of all time, because he is.
Yeah, he is the greatest of all time.
Not the greatest athlete, but he's the greatest American footballer.
Indeed.
Big difference. Greatest IQ in modern sports.
Indeed. Next game, the AFC Championship game, the Buffalo Bills.
No Browns. Oh, wait.
And the Kansas City Chiefs.
God damn it, you ruined it. I'll tell you what, you couldn't ask for 2 better fucking representations of American football than these 2 championship games. This is going to be a stonker, I reckon. I reckon this game's going to be over really quickly because it's run everywhere. There's not going to be much fucking clock. The clock's going to be eaten so quickly in this game, I reckon. I think this will be over quicker than people realize. I think the Bills will win. People are going to say, oh, it's down to whether Pat Mahomes plays or not. Easy take for the guys at first taking it. And say, well, if Pat Mahomes plays, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to stick my neck out right now and say the Bills. I think the Bills will beat them. I don't think the Bills are scared of going into their gaff. Obviously, the Bills not being able to play at home, their fan base has been amazing those last 2 games of the playoffs. But they've really showed out. I don't think COVID exists in Buffalo. Well, it's so fucking cold. It probably doesn't have an opportunity to, which is why they can get so many people in. But I'm curious. And obviously, Kansas, big crowd as well. Kansas from the get-go have had a big crowd. Actually, they're one of the few teams that have had a consistent amount of fans in.
It'll make wonders if Buffalo fans will make the travel.
Yeah. It's I don't know what travel restrictions are like over there. Like over here, they're becoming really strict with that kind of shit. But obviously, America's an entirely different premise. I don't think it'll make that much of a difference to Josh Allen in the game. They got the weapons. Stephon Diggs has got to get rolling in this though, because you need that option, because you can't just rely on solely running. And Stephon Diggs he's elite. I think he's elite.
Indeed.
I like him. He's very exciting. And Diggs also is a player who has big game experience. That's the other thing that people forget about Stephon Diggs. He has been to high-level, high-intensity games. He's played in a conference championship game. Who can forget the miracle in Minneapolis as well when he done the Saints, the missed tackle to end all missed tackles, as to be said. But hey, Diggs has still got to run in for the touchdown. He's still going to make plays like that, and he believes in himself. Diggs is one of those guys who believes that he's the best. And even if you don't think he is, that doesn't matter. He needs to believe he's the best. Every player should believe they're the best at what they do. I really like the Bills. There's something really romantic about the Bills this season as well. They do feel like I scoffed a little bit. I listened to to a podcast over here called Fighting Talk, which is a British-based kind of it's like around the horn for Britain, and there's and it's more comedy-based, so they don't take it too seriously. One of the guys on there said, "Yeah, the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl this year," and I was kind of scoffed, behave yourself. That was a few weeks ago. Now I believe it. I love the look of the Bills. The dream Super Bowl for me is probably the Bills and the Bucks. That looks like an absolute dream to me.
And honestly, if the Bills and the Bucks did get in the Super Bowl, it would be the representation of the present and the future. Because I fully believe that Josh Allen will be the greatest of all time come 10 years from now.
That's a fucking statement and a half. No way.
I
would never make something as ludicrous as that statement. I think
he went from playing in Wyoming.
In 10 years' time, he's going to win as many Super Bowls as Tom Brady. He's going to win 6 Super Bowls.
Maybe he won't be that good.
No way. Nobody will ever be as good as Tom Brady. I don't think anyone's ever going to eclipse him. However, what an incredible moment and what an incredible standing in your career to beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl to kick off your elite run as one of the better quarterbacks in the modern generation.
Yes.
That's the way to start it right there.
That would be the way to start it indeed.
Let's just hope they don't go to, 3 or 4 running Super Bowls and lose them all like they used to. Bills fans right now are like, oh my God, it's so good. But oh my God, PTSD. Like, if I'm a Bills fan right now, I'm like, not again. Please, not again. But hey, you haven't been to an AFC Championship since 1993. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your moment. You've earned it. Good.
Again, it will.
I bet the Chiefs are 3-point favorites, isn't they?
Yes, they're 3-point favorites. Over under is 54.
3-point favorites. He's like that's the most boring go-to fucking gambling line in sports.
Well, that's also because Patty. We're not sure of Patty.
Got nothing to do with that. It's got everything to do with the fact that it's like, the Chiefs are, because they can't separate the team. So whoever's at home gets a 3-point favorite. That's normally how they do it. That's clearly what's happened here. I quite fancy the Bills.
Yeah, I've got the Bills to win it anyways.
Cold weather won't deter them either. Used to playing in that.
I am
lining up good for Buffalo.
I have rolling since last prediction. I said it was going to be the Bills and the Packers, and I am rolling with that for the Super Bowl.
I want Bills and Bucks. I demand it.
Well, that's the thing. If it was the Bills and as much as I would love for it to be the Bills and the Bucks, it would automatically make the Bucks win because the Super Bowl is in Tampa.
Yeah, but the Saints walked into Tampa and handed them their anuses. Playing at home doesn't mean shit. If anything, actually, Tampa, what did I say right before the playoffs? Tampa are more dangerous on the road. Much more dangerous on the road.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The Super Bowl itself is in Tampa.
Yeah, that will favor the Bills more.
They would be the first NFL team to play as a host to the Super Bowl. So then Brady would be even more historic.
Vikings got so close as well.
You can't see the money and the fucking mob on that one.
Bills will win the Super Bowl, I think.
I hope the Bills win the Super Bowl.
I don't. I hope the Bucks do. I want Tom Brady to get his dick out and slap him out. I want Tom Brady to be your next president. Can't do any worse than the last decade.
Yeah, that's true.
And plus, the one probably won't last another 6 months with his dementia. So, Brady, get ready, baby. It's time. It's time, mate. Win that Super Bowl. 7, that's it. He can be like, 7, mic drop. Nobody's touching that. See you later, bitches.
Right.
I'm just going to go run the country now, innit?
I'm going to go run California first, like Arnold did, and then I'm going to take...
Brady. If Brady wins, if they get to the Super Bowl, I'm buying that Brady jersey. I don't care. I want that Tampa Bay jersey, the white one with the red lettering. Oh, it's so sexy. Every time I look at that jersey, I think I could have sex with that. I could. I genuinely think I could bring myself to orgasm just for standing in front of it. It's so beautiful. I don't give a shit. I am such a stan for Tom Brady at this point. I love him. I love him even more because he's not a Patriot. It's like it's intensified. It's like my boner. I found another extra couple of inches I didn't think even existed. That's why I had surgery to get a penis enlargement. Oh, such good shit.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck it is.
All right, folks.
Bucks fan now, isn't it?
Let us know. Let us know if you agree with any of our points. If you have any other points to
They
bring up,
won't do. They won't do. They're
put
all
it in the
Millwall
comments
fans,
down
aren't
below.
they? They're only here to call me a fat pussy, innit?
And
Let's be frank. You're only watching this because you want to abuse me. Britain first, you fucking wankers. What are you gonna fucking do about it, you cunts? What are you gonna fucking do? You're do nothing. 3 downs. Speaking of which, Conor McGregor this Saturday night.
This Saturday night.
I might review that for a laugh. Then all the fucking tap out wearing meatheads can message me. Yo, you don't know fuck all about UFC. I've been smacked in the head so much I can't even see my wife. So I'm an expert. Yo, shut the fuck up, bitch.
Oh fuck. All right, folks. Leave a like, subscribe,
Better like this video.
comment down below. Let us know if we're doing a good job or if you think we're shit. I don't
we
care.
are shit and we love it. I don't care if you think I'm doing a good job.
Aaron Nix, thank you, my friend, for coming and joining on this NFL week.
Oh, I've been coming all week. Oh, sorry. Get on with it, mate. Jesus. Longest outro in the history of podcasts.
Later, y'all.
Bye, y'all.